Solutions. Happy to be here with you once again. Today is actually a Saturday. I'm at the office taking care of some business. I'm going to be on the road a little bit, and I'm kind of getting me a little drink. I like to drink the little Crystal Lights. Um, I'm going to have you on the road with me today. I'm actually going to go get a vehicle service. Um, the office is basically closed today. Again, I welcome everybody that's coming in today. This is D Durrell with D Durrell Life Solutions, and I'm doing a Saturday morning um, live stream, which is basically a vertical video today. Um, I'm gonna discuss immigration, and I'm gonna discuss therapist burnout in California. Are therapists in California burnt out due to dealing with illegal immigration? Okay, are they burnt out? I'm going to discuss um, what that may look like based on the fact that these are heavy situations going on in the state of California. There is military intervention going on. A lot of these families are seeking a lot of these families are seeking psychiatric help, mental health. There's a lot of different areas that I'm going to tackle in which people are seeking some level of mental health services, and they're seeking therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, licensed chemical dependency counselors, etc., to help them through these situations due to the effect of immigration. Again, good morning to everybody. Welcome, Miss T. Pre, for being here this morning. I appreciate those in the clouds who are watching. As I'm talking and as I'm going through everything, I will be closing up shop because I'm here to, pick up. I'm actually here to get a vehicle, to get it serviced and everything. I do have a business, guys. Unfortunately, there are people who think that I'm out of business, and people thinking that I'm in jail. None of those things are true. I am operational. I am functioning. I haven't been watching spaces in which people are putting my name in their mouth, but I am getting reports, and so I appreciate you all for being here that are in the clouds today, and you're gonna tag along with me as I ride along and I go get my vehicle service. I actually have quite a drive because I'm in Galveston County right now, and the place that I got to go, going to the dealership to go get my vehicle service, it's about an hour away. So it's about an hour away, and it's going to take me. I plan to be live for about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. So I'm just trying to charge up my phone for a little bit. It's halfway where I need it to be. And then we're going to get going. But since before I get started, guys, I want to just kind of talk about, the fact that, I'm actually in the office right now. You can see the hallways here. Oh wow, there's a computer there. There are people said I didn't have a computer. My office manager actually has a computer. Yeah, guys, this is these are things that are talked about. There's another nice office over here, guys. I'm operational. I am operational. Um, so I am getting ready to leave out of here. She said, "Lord." Oh, by the way, there's another room over here, guys. This is called a relaxation room over here. This is actually a room where the clients go. It's dark right now, but yeah, I was in jail, guys. I was in jail. The feds got me. you know. But anyway, guys, I want to establish from the perspective of a mental health professional dealing with immigration issues. Now, I have dealt with immigration issues sporadically. I have dealt with families who had issues with immigration. I have dealt with people who have been indirectly or directly affected by immigration. I've never dealt with a client who was illegal and then they were deported. However, guys, I want to establish that I had ran into some issues um, within government agencies as it relates to people receiving services, whether or not those services they were qualified for or not. But there were some situations where people they ghost. They just definitely ghost. Shout out to living life to the fullest. Miss T said that the feds didn't take those chairs, huh? I appreciate it. Thank you, living like said, nice office. So guys, I want to talk about that. When you are a therapist and you're working what is called community mental health, meaning that you are open to the public, you're taking clients who are getting funding through a government agency, a nonprofit. You're providing them pro bono, a government agency, government department that's referring them, and that department or that agency is paying for the services. You don't know. You're not necessarily dictating who you can accept and who you can't accept. You're pretty much going with whatever is referred to you and whatever you agree, which part of your contract you pretty much agree to accept whoever they refer you to. For the most part, you do have the liberty to decline, but for the most part, but for the most part, you're going to have to go with whatever they give you. You know what I mean? They give you referrals, you have to accept them, and you're expected to, and that's just the facts. Okay, so I want to talk about the issues that can cause burnout, the severity of the issue, the urgency of the issue, because people are asking you to assist them in dealing with depression and anxiety, high levels of anxiety. Okay? Fear of losing a loved one, fear of losing your job, fear of losing your well-being. That is not easy to do when you have people who have been functioning in a certain way for so many years, never had any issues, and now their livelihood is up for grabs overnight. And there are immigrants right now who have public assistance and such as Medi-Cal and California and other different insurances that they qualify for, that they have, or they're paying cash. Believe it or not, there are some who are able to pay cash or get those services free through an agency in which they are dealing with high levels of anxiety, high levels of depression, high levels of grief. Okay? Because they don't know what lies in their future. They don't know. And so as a therapist, you're trying to help people cope with the fact that they may be deported. They may or may not be deported, or a loved one may be deported. How you going to deal with it? How you going to function? You're mainly in my position. You spend a lot of time doing cognitive exercises, focus on them working on their decision making, problem solving, and thinking rationally. You're doing a lot of cognitive work. You're doing a lot of what we call solution focus type of therapy. Okay. Um, because there are immediate needs that have to be addressed, particularly when you have the hysteria of kids getting taken out of schools, out of daycares. They're going within factories, farms, and places of employment, and they're yanking illegal immigrants out of their post where they're at, and ICE is taking these people and putting them in camps, and they're shipping them home. This is the reality. Okay, um, we can't get past that. Okay, and as a therapist, those sessions can be very intense. Those sessions can be very intense, in which it may be difficult for you to even get to the real processing. You're focusing so much on providing a therapeutic environment that people can just vent and express themselves before you even get into how do we resolve, combat these issues, help you function, particularly if you're able to stay because you're an American citizen and everybody else has to leave because they're not. I mean, these are the dilemmas that they have to focus on. And again, guys, these are not easy subjects to deal with. And the fact of the matter is that because of the nature of the federal government being involved, there are a lot of things going on that are out of the control of the people. Okay, so every session can consist of another traumatic event going on. Okay, a new traumatic event. Every session, and I say every session can consist of another person being taken away, running away, fleeing, communicating with people in your home country, sending money back and forth. I know for a fact when I dealt with people who dealt with illegal immigration, the uncertainty about the legalities in affording and getting legal assistance was a big thing. That was a huge thing. Okay? Again, guys, let me show you. This is another side of my office here. This is the front area right over here. Guys, this is over here. Just wanted to show you all that. I'm doing okay, guys. Everything is all right. So, getting on this elevator. So we have to deal with these issues, guys. We definitely have to deal with these issues. And it can burn you out. Now, I like to also establish that in many of these situations, particularly if these people are seeking services through government agencies, you're probably, the therapists in California are most probably counseling more than one family member. Okay? And what I mean by that is that you're counseling not just one person in the family, you're counseling multiple family members. You're counseling multiple family members. You can be counseling the kids, the husband, the wife, cousins, anybody that's in that household. Particularly for myself, when I do contracting with some government agencies, part of that contract is to counsel the whole family. So I've counseled families that were big as 8 and 10. Okay, 8 to 10 family members at one time. I'm providing family therapy, I'm providing individual therapy, I'm providing marital therapy, and I'm also providing substance abuse therapy. Okay, guys. So, guys, I'm hanging out. This is my van here, guys. I'm not functioning, guys. They claim that I'm distraught right now. So I'm getting ready to go take this van to go get service. But for my day program, I want us to be aware that part of the treatment involves dealing with people who have these particular issues. Okay? You're talking about individual therapy. We're talking about family therapy. We're talking about couples therapy. Okay? We're talking about substance abuse. And everybody's treatment plan can be somewhat similar, yet different. Everybody's treatment plan can have its own unique goals, yet there are some similar goals. Okay? And not everybody may or may not be as open and willing to participate. Getting people to cooperate in therapy, in these particular situations, I don't think the cooperation would be that difficult unless it's court ordered. But for the most part, people that know that they need the service, they're more than happy to and willing to engage in whatever is needed to help them through this situation. Okay, so I'm here now. Let me turn this, get my little situation going here, guys. Turn this off. Okay. Shout out to CB. He say, how hard is it for them to open up to you, being that you're not a Mexican American ancestry? It's not very hard at all. It's not very hard. Now, to be honest, many of these people, there's not a large level of Hispanic therapists. Now in California, that may be a little different. I want to say Hispanic therapists probably make up around 15% of therapists throughout the country. Somewhere around 30, maybe 30. I'm going to say 15 to 20%. And so I don't think for many Hispanic Americans, they probably are going to see somebody that is not Hispanic, although they may request, particularly language barrier to me is the biggest thing. Okay, language barrier is actually the game changer. Okay, my experience, Hispanic people, particularly those who are bilingual and born from another country, will express and engage in therapy more smoothly if you speak their language of origin. If you don't speak their language of origin and you need a interpreter or a third party to be in there to interpret for you, there may be some levels of difficulty with communicating or the ability to gravitate towards you. Shout out to Alonzo. Salute to you, brother. But it's not the fact of your race. It's more about if you are familiar with Latin culture and you speak Spanish. That to me is the biggest thing. Not the fact that you're of another race. If you speak Spanish, there are probably going to be little to no issues at all. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be some clients who are going to prefer a Hispanic therapist and who are going to act accordingly, act in a certain manner, or not be as open because they didn't get the type of therapist that they want. That's with anybody. That's no, but your racial makeup doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a better therapist. Just because you have the ability to relate from a racial standpoint doesn't necessarily mean that your application of psychological and counseling related techniques is going to be more efficient. And looking at it From layman terms, it may appear that way, but that may not be the case. That just may not be the case. There are good and bad therapists of any race. Just because I'm a black person doesn't mean that every black person is going to get the best therapy from me. Some may not think that way. Some may gravitate to other people from other races. Maybe something about me they don't like, or my delivery, and they prefer to go with someone else. And that's called consumer choice. Okay? So when I'm talking about when I'm talking about burnout, guys, I'm talking about the fact that you are spending an exuberant amount of hours dedicated towards helping people within your profession. And when I'm talking about, one of the biggest factors is, again, if you're a non-Hispanic that's providing these services, you're dealing with language barriers. The other thing is that you may be counseling large families. I'm talking 8, 9, 10, the grandmother, grandparents, the kids, the grandkids, a family of 6 or 7. These are larger families. You're providing services to everybody, okay? And everybody has their own unique issues, yet there are some issues that are similar. Everybody has their own way of dealing with things, and you have to be very versatile as a therapist to go from one person to another. I can give you an example. I would say I can remember about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I was counseling an Hispanic family in which I had to counsel 4 children, the mother and the dad. So I was at that house for about 6 hours, at least 6 hours, counseling 6 people, 4 children and the parents. I did take a break, guys. I took a break in between sessions, or I took a break, 30-minute break, somewhere around. But I basically was there. I'll never forget. I was there on a Saturday. I provided those services from around 9 o'clock, and I wasn't done till about 3 o'clock that afternoon. And I dealt with a host of issues. I dealt with legal issues. I dealt with immigration issues. I dealt with family-related issues. I dealt with cultural-related issues, rules and things of that, religious-related issues in which that family had to deal with. Assimilating to, and they were not here that long. I don't think, if my memory serves me correct, the kids were born here. The parents were from Mexico. I think the parents were here for maybe 5 years, and they spoke English just enough that I could do therapy. But they were more comfortable speaking if they were able to speak in their home language, their native language. And so that's the biggest thing. So imagine if you're a therapist and you have a private practice and you see about, I'm going to say 30 clients a week. Okay? Those 30 clients a week, you're seeing about 30 clients a week, even though you may have 50 or 60 clients, you're seeing about 30 clients a week on average. Average therapist sees about 25 to 40 clients a week. I'm going to say 30. Just go in between. Okay? All of a sudden, you're getting more referrals. Your phone is ringing off the hook. The emails, they want you, they need you. They want you to go to a certain safe house or a place where you can meet the clients. They may ask, can you do home-based therapy? Can you do facility-based therapy? Okay? Imagine the treatment planning that you have to prepare for. Imagine the psychosocial assessments that can take anywhere between an hour or 2 hours, up to 4 hours per person. The documentation that needs to be done. Okay? Imagine, particularly if you're a social worker or you are certified to provide mental health rehabilitation and case management services that are needed. That are needed. You have to provide those services and document as such. Imagine you happen to be at the office on the phone talking to the agencies that referred you those clients to manage progress. Imagine you being on the phone talking to an employment assistance programs who want documentation and want to know progress. This is the life and the functioning of a therapist that is in a private practice model. Are they functioning like this, contracting, subcontracting, or working at an agency where they're getting these referrals? And so you're seeing 30 a week. Now you find yourself seeing 50 a week, 55 a week, maybe 60 more clients on top of the administrative work that is needed, that has to be done. And then on top of that, let's not talk about the billing. Okay? You may contract out someone to do your billing, or some therapists learn to do their own billing. Okay? In mental health, we primarily use about 5 or 6 codes. Okay, you use an assessment code, you use for individual therapy, group therapy, individual, group, family, or there may be a crisis related code. And there's also codes for like whether or not you're doing a session for 30 minutes or you're doing a session for 45 minutes or an hour. Basically about 3 to 5 codes at the most. So it's not really all that difficult. Not on top of that, in addition to that, you're dealing with insurance related issues where you're providing all these services and those services are being denied, or those services that they qualified for expired, or they didn't follow up in continuing their eligibility through Medi-Cal or Medicaid or Medi-Cal in California. Whether the service is lapsed and you're trying to assist them in getting it back, or talking to family members or whomever, or talking to whatever agency, so that you can get paid for those services you're providing. So this is what, and if you are a therapist in California, or that's dealing with immigration issues, whether you're in California, if you're in Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Arizona, in the western states, I would love for you to be in the chat and come out the clouds and speak on it. I would love for you to leave a comment in the comment section, and speak and give your perspective on what I am talking about as a licensed clinician. Okay? Now, I have never dealt with an issue like what's going on in California before, okay? But I have dealt with some national issues, several. I have been blessed to be highly considered in a lot of, unfortunately, crisis-related situations in the state of Texas, in which I am immediately contacted to provide services. The whole tragedy in Santa Fe, Texas, at the schools, where I think 8 or 9 children were killed. I was contacted for that. In Uvalde, I was contacted for that, but I refused because Uvalde is like 3 hours away from where I live, and I couldn't go there for that amount of time. I've also had to deal with the situation where cops were killed in Dallas by a guy that had mental illness. He killed like 4 or 5 policemen. I dealt with situations like that. Professional viewers say, do you want to go back 60 years how was your community doing back then? 60 years ago, I don't know why we're speaking on my community. So obviously, professional viewer, it sounds like you're a person of Hispanic descent. And so my community is irrelevant to the topic that we're speaking on. But since you want to talk about what my community was doing 60 years ago, my community 60 years old was attempting to get their civil rights. And in getting our civil rights, oh, you speak German. Guten Tag. I do speak a little German. I do speak a little German, professional viewer. So Guten Tag to you. Ich spreche Deutschland. I speak a little German. So with that back, so in 60 years ago, our community was mistreated, and we fought for our civil rights. And as a historical fact, other immigrant populations or minority populations did not provide any notable level of assistance to help us along the way. And that's just a fact. Now, were there maybe individuals that probably came into our community and did a few things here or there? Yes. But that was not the case. Matter of fact, there are tons of situations in which Latin American communities stated that was not their business. And I agree with them on that. That was not their business. African American issues are not Latin issues or Hispanic issues. You made a decision, and I respect that decision. So now that things are going on the way it is now, and there are people who are in some ways wanting African American assistance, I will ask you in the spirit of reciprocity to respect our ability to allow you to resolve your own issues that excludes us. And so we're only doing to others as they have us to do and to them. Okay? So that's how that works. That's how that works. Al Red said our civil rights is how these immigrants were able to come into America, especially Africans, Caribbeans, and Hispanics. That is true. Okay? Where is the proof of that? It's called the history books. Okay? Broke Boy 97 says you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. That is documented. And I'm not speaking on this. I'm speaking in reference to therapists of any race or culture who is providing services in the state of California, particularly to minorities of Hispanic or Latin descent, particularly dealing with immigration-related issues. Okay? Because there are those therapists who are probably dealing with this right now. There are a lot of crisis-related issues going on in which therapists are on alert and they're providing these services to the community. Okay? So, but I don't want to get into this issue of debating with you all on who did what to who, when, where, and how. Okay, because it is well documented that throughout all the travesties that have occurred in the African American community, there were not a lot of people, particularly those other communities, did not form coalitions to help. Okay, not to say that there were not any of those individuals from other communities that helped, but as a whole, no, it was not there. And to be honest with you, I don't blame you. That's not your problem. My civil rights is not your problem, Latin America. It's not. Black people getting reparations in America is not your problem. And I'm also say that to the Afro Latina. I know you are my brother. You are my brother and my sister. Y'all are beautiful people. Many of you all are descendants, have a similar lineage as me, being descendants of Africans who were enslaved that went to the Caribbean and South America. Okay, so it is not your responsibility, nor should it be on your agenda to help us. So because it is, and I agree with you on not and you making that decision. So I expect you from those communities to understand that we're giving you the same treatment in kind. We're only reflecting what was done to us. And I don't blame you for not trying to take bullets and put your kids in harm's way. No, I listen, guys, shout out to the Oracle. Appreciate you for being here. Listen, I felt like you all made the right decision. We are not going to help black people. We're not going to hold hands and sing Negro spirituals. We're not going to go to your churches. But we're not going to assist you. We're not going to provide any resources for you. Handle your own business. And you know what, Latin America, I agree with you. You made the right decision. So because I feel like that, I feel like you should, commend us for not being the way we were in the past, trying to help everybody. Now we're at a position in which we are only focusing on ourselves, and now you handle your own issues by yourself. That's only fair. And I think that I agree with you, so you should be agreeing with me. And so I don't understand. What is the problem? Why is there a problem that we're making the same decisions that you made? You chose, guys, you chose to not help us. And I respect it. I respect your decision not to help us as a community. Matter of fact, you made the right decision. I agree with you. You, just like guys at LULAC and other different Hispanic organizations that stated that they were not going to assist us and they support us from a mile away. I agree. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And I agree. I agree with you guys. I agree. You made the right decision. And so we're making the same decision. We're making the same. Now, kind of pivoting back to being a therapist, okay? Pivoting back to being a therapist. I want you to understand that as a therapist, my personal view, our political views have no place in the therapeutic relationship. I hope, and I'm very confident, and in many of the therapists in California, that they follow the same ethical guidelines. They don't allow their own personal issues, their political affiliations, or their view of other people get in the way of them providing therapy. Okay? I hope and pray that they do that. I think for the most part. Not to say that there are not some that are. And shame on you. But the burnout is real, because I can imagine these therapists seeing more clients, dealing with more draining issues, intense therapy sessions, dealing with issues of communication, particularly if you are not proficient in speaking Spanish, needing a interpreter, all of those things, okay? And so these are the things. So Broke Boy 97 said, you're just ignoring the facts. I'm presenting you with. What facts are you presenting? And D-Boy 80 Q808 says they have to fight their own civil rights. This is their time. Exactly. This is something that they have to deal with. Okay? And I ask that you respect us for making the same decision that you made. Respect us for making the same decision that you made. Now, as a therapist, I'm gonna be honest, if I was in California right now as a black man, as a therapist, I would do my best to provide as much services to the Hispanic community or illegal immigrant community, or people dealing with immigration as much as I can. Okay? I would try my best to be as available as I can. I could see myself on a Saturday working every weekend. I could see myself providing more virtual therapy. I typically provide therapy from 9 a.m. to about 5, 6 p.m. on an average day. I could see myself working 12-hour days. I could see myself doing that because I'm seeing this as something that could potentially be temporary. Okay? Now, even though I could see this as being temporary, I pray that nobody gets hurt. You got the president sending military personnel out there. I hope people don't get killed. There's just a host of issues. There are American citizens who have relationships and children and families with some of these illegal immigrants. That there's a dilemma that they have to deal with. I talked about a couple that I dealt with, that I provided services with about 8 to 10 years ago, in which that was a dilemma for the man. He was a biracial, he was a white Hispanic that was mixed Hispanic and white. He had a Mexican wife. They had separated several times, and he was a bit torn between whether or not he should spend the money to help her become an American citizen, or if this relationship doesn't work, if it worked, once she gets a citizenship, she would leave him. He was afraid of that. So he chose to eventually not be with her, and he chose not to spend the money because of the issues that were going on within their relationship. Okay? Okay? These are the issues, okay? So, he said, I'm struggling through I'm sick of hearing you struggle through simple sentences. Oh my God, are you trolling, brother? Are you trolling? Like, I'm literally driving, I'm doing multiple things. I am speaking in a manner to be very careful of what I say, because I am a mental health professional. Okay, and I want to be as neutral and objective as possible. Okay, and unfortunately, you're speaking in a manner that's very polarizing. Okay, and I'm not going to allow myself to get into a verbal confrontation with you where I say, some negative things. So yes, I'm being very careful with what I say. I don't want to make a mistake and say anything crazy that would be deemed unprofessional and ethical, because I am operating on this channel as a therapist, because this is a therapeutic channel. This is a professional channel. Okay. Okay. And so I believe that a lot of therapists are being burnt out. Okay. They're being burnt out, that are dealing with these issues, that are doing that are working community mental health. They're being burned out. Now, those that are working private, private, where they're strictly seeing, people for cash and insurances and things like that. They have more of an upskill. They're probably not even providing services for this community. Now, the scope of my practice in Texas, I would definitely be working with this population because I accept public funding from government agencies, and from departments and insurances like Medicaid. So this would be something. If this was to occur in Texas at the level it is in California, I would be providing these services. Okay, I would definitely be providing these services. And to be honest, I can say I want to say when Trump was first elected, his first term, I had a worker who had a family member who was deported, and the family was at odds about that, and their family was disrupted because of that, and there was some issues that they caused some financial issues because the guy was making good money, and he was here for over 10, 15 plus years, and he got deported back, and the family got together to support his family until he was able to come back. Okay, now that worker is no longer with me. She hasn't worked for me in like 4 years, so I don't know what was the outcome of that, but the family pitched in to help, and that's what they're supposed to do. Okay, so I want to thank you all for being here. We got 68 that are here. We got up to 91. Let's get the likes up, guys. If you're watching and you're not familiar with my channel, again, this is D. Durrell Life Solutions. This is a mental health related channel. I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. I have a counseling agency that provides community mental health. I have a day program. I provide private practice. I provide services to anyone, any and everyone. Okay, about 30 to 33% of my clientele are Hispanic Americans. Okay, and it's pretty much even across the board between black, white, and Hispanic. And I'd say less than 5 to 10 are probably Asian, Indian, or other different ethnic groups. His divine shadow says you need to quit helping those illegal aliens. Okay. I understand that. You stating that. However, I'm operating as a therapist under the confines of a professional. And when you contract and you provide services to the public, then you provide services through government agencies. I signed a memorandum of agreement or a work agreement in which I have to provide services to people that they refer me to. So that's something I agree. And so if that means I have to provide services to displaced individuals, I will, and I will continue to do so. Part of that conversation would be taking the legal route of citizenship. Illegal immigration is a problem, and we're not going to pretend that it's not. Okay, we're not going to sit here and pretend that it's not a problem, because it is. Okay. He says, Ghost 451 said, thank you for telling me where you work. We'll be filing complaints. Okay, file a complaint. Complaint for what? So, we do have to understand that that my job and the therapists who provide these services, our job is not to get involved in the political aspects of things. Our job is to help them function and operate through their mental health. Now, I'm only speaking from a perspective of, as a therapist, you having larger caseloads, more issues to deal with. You're dealing with families. You're doing maybe home-based therapy, facility-based therapy, meeting people in neutral sites or safe places. I'm trying to paint a picture that the public can understand what a mental health professional is going through at that moment if this is part of their practice. Okay? You know, like I want people to understand, because this is not easy. And I do think that there are a lot of therapists who are going to be burnt out if they are providing services to this population. And it's a lot to deal with. It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and it can take a toll on you. You can find yourself working later. You can find yourself working later, working harder, exhausted. Spending less time with the wife, the hubby, your children, family members as a whole. Many of these therapists are probably having issues with sleeping, not wanting to be sexually active due to being stressed and overworked, physically exhausted. This is what burnout looks like. Maybe overeating or not eating enough, neglecting themselves physically due to burnout. And so my position is self-care is going to be necessary. Self-care is necessary. What's going on, Josephine? Al Red says take a damn Xanax. Now that's for anxiety. That's not going to help. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to help unless they're suffering from anxiety. But Xanax is very addictive. Debo A say they burned me out in California. I had to get out of there. Ghost 5 I'm going to harm the money coming in. Okay. All right. Xanax is not used for sleep. That's not a sleep medication. It's for anxiety. What's up, Renaissance Man 2008? Man, I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you here. So I'm good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay? So I believe in having a comprehensive pathway to citizenship. I believe in having legislation that allows people to file legally, do the paperwork. I actually also believe that it should not be that expensive to get legal, for you to legally come here. I don't think it should be. I think it should be affordable. But I do not believe that our borders are open to any and everybody coming at will. And again, I'm looking at it from a reciprocal relationship. It's not easy for you, should not be easy for you to come into this country undocumented, because I cannot go into Mexico undocumented. I cannot go into Guatemala Panama undocumented. I can't go into Belize undocumented. I can't go into Colombia without a passport or a visa. Okay? We can't. I can't do that. I can't do that. What's up, Renee in DeHaut? I can't do that. I can't go to any country in the world without documents. I can't go there illegally. So I don't understand what's the problem. Like, why is there a problem? It should not be a problem. Okay? Oh, guys, I'm caught up in this traffic and slow. This is Houston. The goddamn Houston traffic is real. You get the Houston traffic is real, man. I'm over here in the South. What you talking about? I'm in the South, Southeast Houston. Renaissance Man says they need to overhaul the system, but both sides really don't want this problem fixed for a whole host of reasons. Okay? If you say so. Let's get those likes up, guys. I only got 8 likes, and I know you're in the clouds, particularly if you're new to my channel. Please subscribe to D. Durrell Life Solutions. And if you please subscribe to my channel. If you want to talk about, you getting professional information, reliable information from a highly competent mental health professional like myself, please subscribe to my channel. Okay? Thank you for being here. I'm hoping in the review of this, if this video stumbles across other mental health professionals or psychology students and people in a master's degree program, I'm hoping that you are going to leave comments in the comment section about, and if you're in the state of California and you're dealing with this or experiencing this directly or indirectly, I want you to leave a comment in the comment section. And I definitely am going to respond to you if you got opposing or agreeable thoughts. I want to hear from you. I definitely want to hear from you. Okay? So, again, guys, this has been a great live stream of me engaging with you all, talking about this issue. Doing the vertical live has definitely paid off because I got over 70 plus to almost 100 people watching. I appreciate you all for being here. And I hope, because I plan to go vertical live again later today. I got some things I got to do. So I'm going to be very busy trying to get this vehicle serviced. But I will be doing other things. Maybe later tonight I will go live. If I don't go live later tonight, I'm definitely going to go live tomorrow and do more verticals. And I will do some uploads speaking on these issues. I also would like you all to watch my videos on multicultural counseling, to watch my videos as it relates to mental health in general. And for those that, particularly if you're of the African American community, a lot of my mental health has a concentration focusing on Black mental health, although a lot of my topics do cover issues related to American issues with mental health, period. Okay? But again, guys, I want to thank you and I appreciate you all for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate those that are familiar with my channel for showing up today. I hope that you all can share this video. I hope you can find this video useful and productive. Again, this is D. Durrell with D. Durrell Life Solutions. You all have a great day. Peace.